The new Nomads DLC will allow you to build 3 different types of Arkships. And in this dev diary, we have information on the science ship Arkship, getting to see all its upgrades and abilities, as well as information on the logistical ships and how they transfer resources to and from our waystations, which are essentially our nomadic starbases. We also get to see that Waylines connect these waystations, giving us buffs depending on what's built on the waystations. These can also combine with other nomadic empires. And finally, we get a bunch of information on one of the new origins, Sacred Path, which is your nomadic spiritualist pilgrims. There's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. Scientific Arkships, Waylines, and the Sacred Path. Greetings, Stellaris community. For years, we have said that moving planets are impossible. For years, we said even mentioning it would make our programmers cry. We like to do the impossible, and we also apparently like to make our programmers cry. I do feel bad for them. Despite having to change the carpets twice due to water damage, colonies have been separated from planets. This is going to break your mods. It's a yearly thing at this point. Nomad is being released on June 15th, which we did get to see in the announcement trailer. Highly recommend. Something of interest, we do see the Arkship funneling up resources directly from a planet, by the way. And then once the contract's finished, which was consuming the world, they commit an exodus jump, hyper jumping, and also blowing up any ships nearby. Now Alfred's going to give us more details. Meat ships. Wait, that was last year. Roughly a year ago, we got spoken to about ships that were made of meat. Today, we're instead talking about ships that aren't made of meat, namely Arkships and logistical ships. As a reminder, consider all screenshots in this dev diary to be from work-in-progress builds of the game. Numbers, UI elements, and text may change in the final release. Let's see what they've got cooking. Arkships. They act as colonies, shipyards, and hybrid military/science ships for nomadic empires. For today's discussion, we'll be focusing on scientific Arkships, with civilian and military Arkships to be explored in future dev diaries. So we're going to be getting different mechanics for each one, which is quite nice. To begin with, when creating a nomadic empire, the Arkship selection screen replaces the homeworld selection. As you can see here, Commonwealth of Man can have Arkships, as we know from last week, and you get to choose your starting Pokemon, Arkship. We're hovered over the scientific Arkship, which uses Arkship mechanics, has a unique modifier per Arkship tier, so there's going to be tiers of them. Sensor range goes up by 1 for each tier, hyperlane detection range goes up by 1, and survey speed goes up by 5 per tier. The unique features are tier 2 and 3 get access to deep scan, so the first tier won't have deep scan, whatever that is, and you can imagine it's going to be similar. I imagine military is going to be some form of military benefits, and civilian, it has to be economy based, surely, on the ship. I'm not sure. You also still get to select your starting solar system, but obviously you'll be moving around. You also have Arkship preference, which is the new habitability trait for it. Here you can see the scientific Arkships in its 3 tiers. It just gets longer and longer. I think the back gets spilled out a bit too. Pretty nice. And here we can see the 3 different types of Arkships at tier 3. So I imagine that the gold one is military and the green one is economy, but who knows? I love how they're actually different. Like, they look different too. They're not just recolored. It's pretty sick. This allows you to select your empire's starting Arkship. Over the course of the game, you'll be able to research the other Arkship classes. Oh, so we could switch? In addition to technologies that enable the construction of new Arkships or upgrading the tier of any Arkship you want. So we can have multiple Arkships, and we could have a science one, a civilian one, and a military one, or 3 military ones, or... Okay, that's sick. That's really cool. That's cool. I mean, it makes sense, but like, I also thought maybe it's like limited to 1 could have been, but it's not. That's very nice. Or at least that's what I'm picking up from what they're putting down there. Although the 3 Arkship classes differ in specialization, they all carry the colonies of nomadic empires, act as mobile shipyards, so you don't just need the military one for shipyards, come equipped with strike craft and point defenses, so they are going to be armed even if they're not military, and enable unique fleet orders, which I imagine is to do with their abilities that we saw. If you're thinking about buying Season 10, make sure to use my code EP for Stellaris or use the link in the description. It'll take you to the Paradox store where you'll give the channel a cut of the sale, and then you'll get a Steam key in return. It's greatly appreciated and helps out the channel a bunch. Thank you. Nomadic empires also have access to the Arkship Development Council agenda, which replaces the Infinite Opportunities agenda as your starting agenda. That's going to be the agenda that used to give you happiness. Instead, now it gives you sublight speed +5, evasion +5, and tech progress gained for Arkship construction. Not awful. The happiness is also not the best. Like, it's okay, but it's not that useful early game because your pops are usually quite happy. The modifiers provided by this agenda depend on your starting Arkship class. Oh, okay. So this could be the military one if it's sublight speed and evasion. Thus, for a scientific Arkship, we gain modifiers suitable for economic and military development. Is this for the... It must be... No, it is for the scientific Arkship. So we get a sublight speed and evasion for the scientific one. for some reason, and then more construction. As you progress through the tech tree, this agenda will grant progress in all Arkship technologies. Okay, that's it. So we have the 3 technologies here. The first tech, Arkship construction, gives you the megastructure Arkship construction. So that's how you're going to be able to build more. Interestingly, it costs more than the second tier Arkship engineering, which just unlocks the Arkship upgrade, Arkship engineering, but we do get 25% to it, which is quite nice from that agenda. And then Arkship mastery gives you an upgrade, gives you more modules, Devastator mount, and another module, Capital Shipyard. I mean, Devastator sounds like it's going to kill something. Don't know what Capital Shipyard does if we already have shipyards. Maybe more shipyards? There you can see we have the 3 types of Arkships. Civilian is in society, scientific in physics, and military in engineering. And they're quite early game techs. If they're costing 5,200, then we'll see what tiers they are. But that does suggest we can change and upgrade relatively early on. Numbers could change though. Remember that. All Arkships have access to an array of fleet orders, of which the top 4 should be familiar to most players. So we can do bombardment stance, which selects the bombardment stance, which means Arkships can bombard. We can build megastructures with the Arkship. So we can open the build menu for megastructures, Arkships, and Waystations. So the Arkship can make more Arkships. Fleet stance, select the fleet stance of the Arkship. Obviously, we usually have passive, evasive, and standard, is it? I can't remember what the other one's called. But also we have insufficient intel here. Combat behavior of the Arkship is awaiting decryption of the military class Arkship intel packet. So maybe they're going to do something different, weird, special, who knows. We also have automation. Thank you. I like automation, which will allow us to do auto explore, for example. Here you can see that screen. So it has those 4 at the top, that's standard. And then I'm guessing the bottom row is this science ship specific, which is that like researching anomalies? That looks like the mining from the trailer, that there's other stuff here. Let's let the commander try to do some surveying. It's his passion because they can also survey as per the science ship order, but with either a scientist or commander in charge of the Arkship fleet. So you can get the military leader on the Arkship surveying, which is quite funny. There's also a button to view the planet, which I just noticed. And it looks like it starts off at a 738 fleet power, which is not awful early game, especially if this is the scientific Arkship. Military one, surely it's a bit stronger. Deep scan. Okay, so that might be what that other button was. A more thorough version of survey. Deep scan has a chance to reveal previously undetected resources, anomalies, or archaeological sites. Although celestial objects can be deep scanned multiple times, the chance of a discovery drops for each successive deep scan. This also insufficient intel awaiting decryption of the civilian class Arkship intel packet. So everyone gets this, and maybe extra. This is really cool. So it means if you're trapped or you just want to keep surveying the same system because you're worried about exploring for some reason, you can keep deep scanning it to maybe get more anomalies or resources. That's really nice. Could really buff up your systems with that. This order requires the Arkship satisfies one of the following requirements. Is scientific Arkship of tier 2 or 3? Okay, so it's more of a mid to late game thing where if you've already surveyed the galaxy, or the AI have, you can still roam around and survey and get benefit. You have to have the advanced sensor array module and equipped with a subspace imaging spinal mount. So spinal mount, I've seen a few mentions of them. Maybe those are what give different abilities and you can't do everything, maybe? Like survey, this order requires that the Arkship fleet has a leader in charge, of course. Then we have some insufficient intel again, where we'll unlock 2 different things when we see the civilian class Arkship in future dev diaries, and then the spinal mount ability. Most spinal mounts that can be constructed on an Arkship grant an additional special ability. There we go. Confirmed. Do note that Arkships cannot research anomalies, archaeological sites, or astral rifts, but can complete some special projects. This is because we don't want your entire colony being eaten by dimensional horror, or whatever other evil our content designers have made for the last decade. For researching anomalies, archaeological sites, astral rifts, and special projects, nomadic empires will still have access to science ships. It's not awful, because that means we can use our Arkship to survey, and then the science ships can follow along, doing anomalies, dig sites, etc. I do want to know if we need to claim the system, though, to do dig sites, or do we have to go the tradition that lets you do that outside your borders? We'll see. Arkship design and upgrading. The first look here of the UI. So we have our capital Arkship. This is clearly on the ship controls, as we can see in the bottom, which gives us a more detailed overview of modules, systems, and spinal mount. Let's break this down. So we do have systems with a shield and an armor, which looks different to normal. I will say that. I don't think there's just one shield and one armor on it. Surely not. Maybe it's telling the system AI thing what to look at, because top right you can actually see, we can look more in depth at what's equipped, and we obviously don't see weapons or anything, so there must be another tab that shows you more of the specific defensive and aggressive modules we have. You can see the shield, armor, and hull. You can also see the pops and cloaking. We can cloak our Arkships. We do have that spinal mount. You can only have one on this Arkship. Maybe upgrades let you have more. We'll see. You have the status, no orders, and you have all the abilities. We then have Arkship controls. We have 2 people in charge. If I was to guess, the governor is doing governor things on here, and the military leader's in charge of the actual ship. Then we can also build assault armies and shipyards, and you can see the build queue. On the bottom, we have the planet stuff, infrastructure, management, economy. Ship controls is where army normally is, so this is just combined. This is the planet view, and then you can see your holdings. You can still have Megacorp stuff on your Arkship, or Overlord stuff, which is really nice. It is just a flying planet. As Arkships are unique, we felt it appropriate to give them a custom UI for their design and upgrading, which is found in the Ship Controls tab of the Colony UI for Arkships. This tab replaces the Army tab. I should just read instead of guessing. The top of the UI shows the Arkship class and tier, current HP, armor, shields, pops, and cloaking protection, if the First Contact DLC is enabled. To the right, you have buttons to upgrade the Arkship tier and view the currently equipped ship components. Note the components of an Arkship are automatically upgraded depending on research technologies, so the shield and armors will automatically get upgraded then. And we can see a first look at the upgrading. So it's going to cost you 250 influence. I kind of like that. They're using influence for something there. Especially early game. There's not too much. Well, I just said before, we won't be claiming much land. You could still claim land, but this is where your influence will go, I suppose. And then you have the alloys, 5,000 of them. That's fair, I think, for a tier 2 upgrade. And in 900 days, it's going to take you 3 years to upgrade. The scientific Arkship will gain +5 evasion, 2,500 armor and shield hit points. So they have like innate shield and armor then. Daily shield regen, 4 more station modules, 4 more station buildings, 9 max districts, 40% habitability, 2 sensor range, 2 ship hyperlane detection, Waystation resources transferred per month, 375. What does this mean? We will see hopefully later on. And then 10% survey speed. We also get the deep scan, which we saw before. You need the tech and the resources. I don't know if this is like additional to what is already happening, or is the tier 1 already giving +1 hyperlane detection? I think that is how it works. So this isn't getting all of those bonuses, it's like added on to what it is. Yeah, because above we had sensor range +1 per tier. This is not additional to what we already had. This is the stats of the Arkship too. And here you can see what I was talking about before. The ship design is different. So we had the 1 shield and armor, but we actually have 3 large armor, 3 large shield, then 4 point defense, which is automatically gone to flat, and 2 strike crafts. This is the science ship though, so the military one might have more stuff. Core components are the same as a normal ship, and then you can see the hull, 2,500, armor and shields equal there at 3,950, 108 speed and 5.4 evasion with 65 damage per month, I think. I can't remember what that stat is. Not bad. Can you run over an AI? Maybe. Honestly, flak is really good. So is Strikecraft. It depends what the computer is. If the computer's on hanger and it literally stays back as well, probably a good design to go like run at people. We'll see how they counter that. To install additional components or add additional functionality to the Arkship, you can build either internal systems or external modules. Internal or external? The categories of systems are aura emitters, colony support, defensives, economic support, naval support, and utilities. Okay, so this is talking about in the previous thing we saw, we had systems and modules. We can't directly just add armor and shield then. We have to say we want armor. But if you replace the shield with armor, it would do 3 more armor, I reckon. So as an example, here's the ancient suspension field module, which adds 3 times large ancient suspension field components to the Arkship. Yeah, so that could replace the shield. It's going to cost you probably 3 times the amount, and it gives you those large slots that do it. So this is their way of basically designing a starbase. Could we see this on starbases in the future? Just like kind of nudging it to what we want it to do. That would be nice. Because I'm guessing our ship is also kind of like a starbase. It's a bit weird. And the categories of modules are, of course, energy, missile, naval support, point defense, projectile weapons, strikecraft, utilities. We've seen them before. As an example, here's the advanced sensor array, which increases the effectiveness of the Arkship's sensors. So the advanced sensor array will just give us +1 sensor range and ship hyperlane detection and survey speed, and will unlock the deep scan. So if you want to do deep scan, you need that advanced sensor array on. Does that mean the above build replaced whatever those modules are with military, or do we start with point defense tanks? Could we make it stronger then at the start by adding military stuff? We'll see. Finally, tier 3 Arkships can equip a single spinal mount. So so those are going to be locked behind tier 3, located between the habitable arms of the Arkship. These are powerful late game installations, designed to be a mobile killer structure. Okay, I like. Today, we'll show off the capital shipyard and the subspace imager. You can see the top is blurred out, but it looks like a Titan weapon. Honestly, that would be sick. I really hope we can do Titan spinal mounts, just make our Arkships part of the military, yes. Anyway, the capital ship is going to cost us 500 unity, 5,000 alloys, 500 motes, and take 1,800 days to make. So these are no joke. These better be good. Nested at the heart of the Arkship, these yards can build ships of unprecedented size, all while we travel across the stars. So that sounds to me, if you want to build Titans and Juggernauts, you need one of these if they're big. It also has an upkeep of 5 energy and 2 motes, and it gives the planet modifier a +4 build queue capacity. Is that similar to playing as the planet where you get to build 4 things simultaneously? It might do. It might do. You also get 50% build speed. I think it does, you know. We also start with 100 XP. XP is no joke. It can add up. And then station modifiers allows capital ship construction, which is Juggernauts and Titans, right? Can it build Arkships? I thought it could already build Arkships. I didn't. Ship build speed plus 50%. On an Arkship, a shipyard can be used to build districts. So yeah, you're going to be able to build 5 things at once on that planet. This is late game though, so you might not need to do that unless you're doing like mass rejigging, I don't know, or you build an Arkship but then you build that so you can build it up quickly. We'll see how useful that one is. Not that impressed with it at the minute, but maybe I'm wrong. The capital shipyard does not grant access to any spinal mount ability. Instead, it acts as a mobile kilo shipyard, improving the construction speed of the Arkship and construction queues available. Yeah, like it's okay, but with 4.3, you don't really tend to spam like billions of ships like we did before. I found we're not using shipyards as much as we used to. Remember, ships are more expensive too, so it's hard to get loads queuing up at the same time. Maybe that one's a bit weak in my opinion. You can only have one of these, so we'll see what the other ones do. Subspace imaging array. The void speaks. And for those who know to listen, it whispers the secrets of the countless worlds in its embrace. It's going to cost you 500 unity, 5,000 alloys, and 500 exotic gases with a base time of 1,800 days. It's going to have an upkeep of 5 energy and 1 exotic gases, and it's going to give your empire a base intel level of +5. Now remember, you can have more Arkships, so you could get that base intel up quite a lot. A little spy nomad run could be funny. Just getting like 20 nomad ships to have a base level of 100. I don't know if it works that way, but it could. Station modifiers going to give you more sensor range, detection range. They're okay. They're quite good for navigating against enemies, I suppose. However, tracking +15 is pretty nice, especially if you can load your Arkship up with a lot of big hitting weapons. Then you get detection strength of +6, which is probably quite good if you're playing against frigates, which are going to be good against Arkships because they're one big thing. Frigates do very well if they can cloak and get close to the big ship to then do all their damage, so that could be useful, but AI doesn't normally do that, but this could be really good in multiplayer if someone's trying to take down your nomadic ship. You also get the deep scan and subspace image systems, so you don't need that module for deep scan then. And let's see what subspace image system is, shall we? Here we can see the Arkship, a tier 3 scientific Arkship equipped with 6x advanced sensor array modules and a subspace imaging array spinal mount. So it can see everywhere. The subspace imaging array is the ultimate mobile sensor array, capable of tracking enemy fleets at incredible ranges. In addition to the modifiers it provides, it also enables the subspace image system fleet order. This allows the Arkship to deep scan an entire system at once, with a much higher chance of success, also having the chance to discover previously undiscovered hyperlanes or wormholes. Okay, so before the last sentence, I was gonna say this is not that good. The fact it can discover hyperlanes or wormholes, yeah, that could be very good to cause complete disruption, go round choke points. Yeah, that has its use. Don't know if it's worth it as a general case, but it has its use. I'm excited to see the other ones. I just feel like I'm gonna have the Titan beams, if that is what it is, on it all the time. Logistic ships. Logistic ships are the nomadic replacement for construction ships. Okay, so we don't have construction ships. Okay, they're primarily used to construct new waystations, collect resources from waystations, and conduct special projects that require construction ships. And we have to wait for civilian intel to know what else they can do. Although logistic ships can construct megastructures, they are incapable of building new Arkships. Okay, so the Arkship has to make the Arkship. Unlike construction ships, the maximum number of logistic ships a nomadic empire can support is restricted by technologies and their waylines. Okay, so these ships are going to be very important then if they're limited. We get our first screenshot of them, the CNS Ogun logistic ship, shield armor hull of course, and it's got used stockpile capacity 1,791 of 2,500, and we do have resources within this logistic ship. So it looks like we're going to have to go and collect, as you can see, from the Waystation and bring it to the Arkship then, maybe, which kind of makes sense, I suppose. And constantly doing an ongoing transfer. You can see it's full of not just resources, but science too. We also have that new symbol that we saw on the other ship, the drilling. Maybe they can drill asteroids from resources. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's read on. It'll probably tell us. Each logistic ship has an internal resource stockpile, which is transferred into your Empire stockpiles whenever they visit an Arkship. Yeah, so we're going to have to actually micromanage these boys to get our resources. Okay. This stockpile can be viewed both in the Fleet UI for logistic ships and the outliner. The collection of resources from waystations and dropping them off to the Arkships can be automated. Okay, thank you. That's good. Because the novelty will wear off very quickly if you play a lot of Nomads. You can see in the outliner here, you can see all the stats. They have a trade upkeep and you can see the current stockpile. They also do get a bit of sublight speed and disengagement opportunities. And I guess mid is referring to how full it is then, which is something we were trying to theory craft before. And then the waystations are at low amount, so they don't have many resources there. Perhaps I lied a bit when I said that we're going to be talking about ships that aren't made of meat. When using a biological ship set, these ships will in fact be made of meat. That is very nice. Okay, so does that include the Arkships? Are they meat Arkships too? You can't just leave us with that last sentence. But I really like that. I hate it when the DLCs just exclude different things, and the fact that this will be able to use everything that exists. Very nice. Waystations and waylines. Waystations are how nomadic empires exert influence over a system without claiming it as theirs. Depending on the installed modules, waystations collect resources from celestial deposits, observe pre-FTL civilizations, allow for megastructure constructions, and more. So they're basically like nomadic starbases, but another empire starbase and a waystation could exist at the same time. All waystations, regardless of level, so they're going to be upgrades to these two, use your station capacity. Station? Is that like starbase capacity then? This differs from station capacity for starbases. Okay. Where outposts are exempt. Oh, okay. So usually when we claim a system as a normal empire, that starbase doesn't count to our starbase capacity. You have to upgrade it for it to. But waystations, on the other hand, as soon as you build the first level of them, that will count to your capacity. Incidentally, we're looking at having orbital rings and deep space citadels use 1 and 3 station capacity, respectively. Is that for all empires then? What, we're just getting a new capacity thing? Everyone's getting station capacity? What's going on? Instead of technologies related to improved starbases, nomadic empires gain access to technologies to improve their waystations and logistic ships. Okay, so our starting tech, waystations, gives us +1 station capacity. Only 1? What do we start with? Is it just 1? I want loads of stations. And of course, we unlock the station waystation and unlock contract build waystation. So we're going to get a contract to build a waystation then. Improved wayline logistics, 3000. An early game technology, tier 1 or 2, I reckon, lets you have a +2 station capacity. So we'll have 3 in total if it's just to go off these techs. 2 logistic ship capacity, that's nice upgrade, and 25% logistic ship stockpile capacity. That's nice, that upgrades too. I like that as the game goes on. We also unlock the logistic hub, repair bay, and the waypoint station upgrade. So we're going to be able to upgrade these to probably do more, hold more, have more modules, because we obviously got the logistic hub and repair bay there. Oh no, we're not going to be able to build my hydro bays and trade modules. No, hopefully we still can with the logistic hub. And then a more mid-game tech, advanced wayline logistics. We get +2 capacity for logistic ships and stations, and more stockpile. We also get the upgrade at Wayhold, but no other modules upgraded. I assume the other techs will unlock modules, potentially. We'll see. This screenshot is very important. We have the Deneb Waystation, because remember, we don't actually claim land. I think I might have said that we did before. We don't claim land. And it is a wayport, which is the tier 2 waystation. This can be upgraded or downgraded. It also has ship details or design details, so it's going to have defense capabilities. It can cloak, and it also has a collection efficiency and stockpile. So it's currently stockpiling 1000 resources, and it has a 50% collection efficiency on everything except for energy, which is weird. I'm presuming these modules are going to up those things. So we have that. 2 modules we've never seen and a shipyard. And it is also attached to a wayline, which you can see to the right of this screenshot. We've connected these waystations to a wayline. I don't know the significance of connecting them to the waylines yet, but I presume we're going to find out. We have the Waprit Waystation, also on the Luris wayline. It's maxed out and has stockpile. Why didn't the other one have a stockpile? I guess it was collected or it's not allowed. You can downgrade it. It's not cloaked. It has a capacity upgrade of things, which didn't have it before. 50% on the same things that we had before too. The stockpiles only have like 4 different resources. I presume that's what they're making there. We can actually see it in the screenshot. They're making energy, science, and crystals. So we're getting the food. Oh no, we can get hydrobait, but it goes into the stockpile, not into our resource. That's funny. With the Black Hole Research Center and the shipyard and then 3 other things we don't know about. I really like the art too with the ships flying through it. And Waystation stockpiles depend on installed modules and local system resources. So maybe Deneb's where our thing is, our Arkship, so it doesn't have stockpile yet. But we can't actually see that on the screenshot. All right, Luris Wayline. We can see the Wayline. The Wayline is giving us 500 of resource storage capacity and research sharing from agreements plus 1%. Okay, it's modifying diplomacy things. I like that. That might be a bonus only for scientific Arkships, which I'm not going to complain about. The system modifier is giving shipbuild speed and more research, which is tech from research stations. So this could be another thing from the science Arkship, or maybe it's just something we can select because we do see each way station. We can upgrade them. We can see their resources, but it also says what they are. They're extraction hubs, solar hubs, Waystation. There's upgraded modules here. This is just like the trade routes, but we have them back as nomadic trade routes. If multiple waystations are built in neighboring systems, they will automatically form a wayline, appearing in the outliner as a single entry. That's nice. That's nice. So you don't actually have to join your waylines either, interestingly enough. It's kind of like a sector, I suppose. It has a dedicated UI to show all waystations in that wayline. Depending on the modules installed on the waystations, waylines are capable of propagating modifiers to systems and empires connected to them. Okay, so it's not to do with the Arkship, it's to do with those buildings that we saw. So we could make one wayline really scientific with a scientific empire, loads of scientific resources, and then an economic one. Nomadic empires can build waystations in systems owned by settled empires. Though doing so will incur opinion penalties, scaling with the number of waystations present and various policies of the empires evolve. So this empire has a -60 opinion of us because of our slavery policy and unlicensed waystations, unlicensed, so we can negotiate. To remove this penalty, nomadic empires can sign diplomatic agreements with settled empires to allow waystation constructions with their system. That's nice, that's nice. Bit of a diplomacy update here with all this stuff and contracts. Likewise, 2 nomadic empires with neighboring waylines can also sign a wayline pact. Regardless of the empires who have signed the agreement, a wayline pact allows for both to benefit from the wayline modifiers of the other, oh my, and for their waylines to propagate each other's wayline modifiers. That just sounds really good. Form wayline pact. Our fleets jointly share the void. It seems only natural that we extend our waylines to one another and benefit from what we've built. We'll form a wayline pact with this empire, allowing us to jointly benefit from one another's wayline networks. Shame it doesn't say what they are, but I'm sure you could go check if you have enough intel what their waylines are doing. Now we're looking at the origin, the sacred path. This is the spiritualist origin for the Nomads expansion. Nomadic empires are defined by their wandering, but what if your wandering had a purpose? The sacred path is an origin for spiritualist empires whose ancestors left behind a set of star charts marking a number of sacred sites scattered across the galaxy. Gonna go on a pilgrim. Your people believe they are duty bound to find them all, whether that duty is divine obligation, historical curiosity, or just a really old story someone wrote down once. Well, that's for you to discover. We have the Sacred Path, which disables settling, and these nomadic spiritualists traverse a deified route dictated by their ancestral scriptures. With technological advancements and an evolving understanding of the galaxy, will the pilgrim remain their purpose? Effects: nomadic origin, unique Arkship district, the consecrated community, and unique jobs: high pilgrim, devoted adept, and faithful acolyte. The concentrated community. When you start with the Sacred Path, your Arkships come with a unique district specialization, the consecrated community. This replaces your standard civilian jobs with 3 new roles that reflect your empire's spiritual hierarchy. Oh, they're messing with civilian jobs. High pilgrims, your elite clergy. They produce unity, and they are very serious about the path. Devoted adepts, specialized researchers and interpreters of scripture. They also make your ships faster, which I find very on brand for nomadic priesthood, so you can get to your pilgrimage locations quicker, I guess. And then you have faithful acolytes, the everyday faithful. They keep the lights on and food on the table, which even the most devout pilgrim appreciates. Your first decision comes almost immediately. After 5 days of travel, your council brings the ancient star charts forward and asks you the question everyone has been avoiding. Are you following this pilgrimage out of faith, or are you going to chart your own path? Okay, so immediately you don't have to do the path, I guess. This choice influences which of your 3 classes benefits most in the early game. Swift thinking about your playstyle before you click. Okay, what do they exactly do then? So here we can see the consecrated community. It's basically a replacement for the archives with the building slots, but per district you get 200 devoted adept jobs, which are basically the bureaucrats, 60 physics, 60 biologists, 60 engineers, and less housing per one. Politicians are converted into high pilgrims, as we knew before. Bureaucrats are now devoted adepts, and civilians are now faithful acolytes. Remember, you can combine civics that change what bureaucrats do. You can have both devoted adepts and whatever the civic is, I'm presuming. So the devoted adepts turn consumer goods into society, research, unity, trade, and amenities. Okay, those seem good then if they're doing a lot. Could you whack on a civic that gives them the physics and engineering? Maybe. Doesn't say what the civilians are producing, which is nice. We do get a look at some of the districts too. The hydroponic base behind the ordnance engineering, which has a military symbol on it, so it's probably building soldiers. So do we have no minerals? I guess there would be no minerals to mine on an Arkship, so it's probably energy, food, and soldier jobs on an Arkship. Interesting. The sacred sites. From here, the origin unfolds as a series of special projects. Survey sacred sites, each one a remnant of your ancestors' journey. I won't spoil all of them, but I will say each site has a distinct identity and asks you a different question about faith, history, and what your empire actually believes. Sacred sites visited 1. Sacred site, the Eye. In the words of our ancestors, there is an unsleeping eye within Ichilia's freeze grasp. We understand this is to be a reference to an orbital observatory. We need the Arkship in orbit. I am what I am. I am my own special creation, yes. Did we leave this and build the Arkship? Well, you'll have to see. A few highlights. The cradle is a sacred location where your ancestors supposedly received divine guidance, except there's no physical evidence of any presence whatsoever. You can declare the faith validated anyway, or accept that history may have been embellished somewhere along the line. Both choices have consequences. I like that. It's not just going to be a linear path. You can choose what suits what you're doing. Intelligence is an ancient AI that greets your survey team with a message. Worship is enabled. Peace may now commence. You can venerate it, bring it aboard your Arkship, or destroy it. Is this like a reference to Satana then? We've detected an artificial signal originating from these coordinates. Curiosity, this is where one of our secret sites' purpose is purported to be. The signal contains a coded message, which we have transcribed and translated to language. Worship is enabled. Peace may now commence. Allow the Mechasire into your pulmonary organ. The end of the path. After visiting all sites, your empire faces its defining moment. Was any of this real? Did the ancestors receive divine guidance? Or did they just write down a very compelling story? What will you pick? The sacred path, jubilations, or the path was with us all along? This is our crusade. Hero path was the epiphanies we had along the way. Sacred path is an origin for players who want their nomadic run to feel like a journey, one where the choices you make along the way shape not just your modifiers, but how your empire understands itself by the end of the game. I'm really proud of how it came together. I'm excited to see which ending people's gravitate toward. My bet is on the intelligence invoking some strong opinions in the community. We'll obviously be playing through that origin when we can, so make sure to subscribe. What's next? Well, they haven't messed around. There's a full damn table of it. Next week on the 21st, we're getting information on contracts, life on the Arkship, operational reserves, civilian Arkship, spinal mounts, the planetary reprocessor, which we probably saw in the trailer, nomadic empires and mega, but it's crossed killer structures, because of course we don't claim land. How can we have mega structures? We'll see. I just realized it does say waystations allow for mega structure construction, so we will be able to use those in other systems to get mega structures. Sounds interesting. And then the Origin Forever Cruise. The week after, the 28th, we get information on Defenders of the Galaxies, Champions Forged Live, nomadic paragons, military Arkships, Arkship combat, spinal mount, devastator mount, and the Origin Heirs of the Khan. The week after, on the 4th, we have the Stellar Cannon, civics, spinal mount, Exodus jump, which we also saw in the trailer, embarking and settlement, because of course we can leave our Arkship, and other empires can also become nomadic, and new pre-scripted empire. Then the next Thursday, on the 11th, we get the release notes and the spinal mount Stellar Engine. Then the Monday after that, Nomads is released, and then we'll get some what's next. Then the week after that, the art. I'll be bringing you next week's information, which doesn't slow down, so make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in this video where I'm checking out Necroids to see if they fixed them, because they were horribly, horribly bad in 4.0. 4.3, I think, has done a great job fixing it. Goodbye.